Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is TMI. We are doing a countdown to the general election. 6 days to go. Many Nigerians, according to reports, are not really happy about this. With me here in the studio, he was a one-time, NLC. Is it chairman or secretary, sir?
Secretary, vice chairman.
Vice chairman. Yeah, secretary, vice chairman, Edo State chapter. He is into unionism, activism, the civil service, you just name it, political analyst, and of course, one-time PAMSEC of Ministry of Agriculture. Yes, join me to welcome Bashir Kadiri. Welcome to TMI. I appreciate your comments, sir.
Thank you, Wilson.
It's been a while.
Quite some time.
It's been a while.
Quite some time.
All right.
And God bless our country.
I'll say a big amen to that. And of course, so join us in the studio, a very young man, vibrant, politically speaking. He is an activist, political analyst. Join me to welcome Marcel Oko.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. All right. Now, we have a situation on the ground. Some are saying the reason for this cash crunch or this policy is to check vote buying. But why some others are saying, look, this is not going to check any vote buying, but rather it may just increase the ease which is votes are being bought. Because if a politician peradventure choose to bring the new currencies and say, look, this is a new money you don't have, for as low as 2,000, 3,000, even 1,000, because people are hungry, they may willingly sell their vote. That this may just have the negative opposite effect of what the government of the day is trying to fight. What do you feel about this, Bashir?
Well, Wilson, I've heard this story over and over again. I must tell you that the political players are always very smart. What they do, they preempt you, and they go ahead of you. In global politics, you understand that one of the instruments to control people, to take people away, is hunger. People create hunger deliberately so as to ensure that people follow them. The Civil War, Nigerian Civil War, also suffered that fate when Awolowo advised the federal government that if these people are still getting food, then we cannot win the war. Let's stop the food. Let's see how we can control the food so that they will now know that we are in charge. And sincerely yours, the Civil War came to an end in 1970 with that one and several other points that were made to get that done. Now, it is natural that people must exploit the opportunities that are available to them in every policy you made, every policy. That is why a policy designer must be anticipating what reactions will come from that policy, what will be the pushback, must do a clear analysis and a diagnosis of a possible reaction. Are they, what would you call SWOT? Okay? Talk about the strengths, the weakness, and so on and so forth. So you will be able to do that analysis. I think what has happened here, even the policy may have made sense, what has happened here is that the policy was not properly thought out. It's possible that those who designed that policy would have done a lot of advocacy and do preempt people who want to exploit opportunities. Maybe because they were in a hurry, there was this urgency, and so they didn't give this a deep thought before they got to this point. Otherwise, what we are suffering now would have been reduced or minimized. Now, let me tell you, whether the cash was removed or not, like changed or not, you will find out that the Nigerian politicians know how to undermine Nigerians. I give you an example. During the last primaries in Nigeria, we had dollars were subject matter. It was not naira. Those who had naira will not have any place to stand. So even if you have 1 billion naira and somebody has some dollars in his hand, the people will follow the dollars. I heard, I was not there. If it is true, if it's a lie, it's who told me that are liars, not me. And that somebody was giving out $20,000 per candidate, per delegate to the primaries. One person was giving out $15,000 per delegate in that conference. Now that tells you that Nigerians, no matter how you try to do it, they will still want to circumvent. But why I said the policy may have had its own good part, but because of the lack of proper planning and thought out on what to do to get Nigerians running. For instance, there's no reason to close the banking hall. It was necessary to say, okay, see that money across the counter. But you now say, okay, let's just take a limitation. Because a man who has 1 billion naira in his custody, in his house, cannot transfer that money in 5 days. You get a picture now. Yes. Now, if the man you want to attack, the man you want to stop from buying votes, is the subject matter. What you just simply do, you say, okay, there can be a limited money across the counter. Because even the Nigerians that have been protected now, we're talking about now, some of us are also agents to some of these big boys.
Okay.
Imagine that in its current situation that we are now, some boys are being paid to go and stay in the queue. They have no account in the bank. They have no account anywhere. They will go and stay in the queue. When the owner of the thing comes, they shuttle. Some of them even go collect ATM, 7 ATMs. 7 ATMs. And their ATM drawing 20,000 naira, pram. You know, the whole thing is that there's what we call a psychic distortion in our system here.
You're right.
Now, so for me, the policy would have made sense, complete sense, if they had properly thought and planned it out and preempted the possibilities of what would be the backlash.
All right.
Maybe we won't have had this problem now. Every Nigerian man, 10,000 naira in his pocket in a day, it's okay for him, 10,000 naira. He goes around, 20,000 naira. If that money was freely taken from the counter, you know what I'm saying now?
Yes.
Say, okay, we put a seal. Nobody go beyond 20,000 naira a day.
A day. Okay.
But the monies are valuable. You won't have this kind of crisis.
I will come back to you, sir. Now, they said this is just going to have the opposite effect, like what I asked Comrade Kadiri. Do you think this will check vote buying, or vote buying will just be like so easy to achieve because people are desperate for this cash and they are hungry this season?
I would like to state that the issue of vote buying is not unique to Nigerian politics. It has been in existence for some time now. Even if you take a look at far back when Fayose contested for election, he started with, when he was coming back for the second time, he started with the issue of stomach infrastructure. It was on that basis he rose to power for the second time. And now, this policy to me is the best policy that this administration have ever made, from my own point of view.
It's fine.
Now, if you take a look at the APC presidential primaries that took place June 6th last year, you notice that before the primary election, the so-called anointed candidate was not Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But frankly speaking, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has the financial prowess to overturn any decision when it comes to election. And frankly speaking, I was there during the primary because I reside, like, in Abuja. So during that primary, like my dad here said, we're having dollars exchanging hands, just like handshake. And before we knew what was happening, boom, the story changed. And now, I will say this policy, we're giving enough time to change our currency, to take it back to the bank for the new ones. We're giving 100 days. Mr. Wisi, I tell you this, even if we are giving 200 days, we will still have this issue. This policy has come to stay, and it will remain. The truth is that most of the policies that will make Nigeria a better place will come hitting us very hard. But I tell you, in the long run, we are going to benefit it and enjoy it. Now, the president has seen that, he has seen the way the APC presidential candidate won the primary election. He saw it firsthand, not hearsay or this. He saw it, he witnessed it. And he has the interests of Nigerians in heart. And he's like, how are we going to do this? Because this has been the main reason why we are having leaders without purpose. That is what is happening or taking Nigeria backwards. We have leaders who come into power. They ride into power through money, not because they are actually wanted by the masses or by the people. And at the end, when they get there, they do whatever they feel like doing. At the end, when they leave office, there's nothing home to write them about. There's nothing you can even say, okay, take a look at this administration, for instance. We have banditry, we have insecurity, we have poor health sector. Just name it. It is the worst administration in the history of Nigeria. Right from 1999 to date, there's nothing, we are 62 years of age as a country. Each administration comes in and they tell you, this is what we are going to do, this is what we are going to do. But as we speak today, there's nothing we can actually talk about that these guys have done. We are still having epileptic power supply to date. To date, as I speak with you, we are still having it. Now, these are the only thing that can happen that will make Nigeria change is by putting the right leader in that position.
All right, now.
And now, most of these leaders together, they don't have the financial capability to struggle, to fight with their opponents. And this policy has come to help those who don't have that financial capability to stand tall in the forthcoming election.
Are you not saying that it's all about one man?
Yes, it's all about one man. We know this.
Okay,
it's
fine.
all about
Yes,
one
I will
man. We
tell
know
you.
very well that the
Okay.
other man from...
Okay, now you just hold on now.
Okay.
Now, since it's all about one man,
No,
is
no,
it
I
right?
did not say that about one man.
Oh, okay, fine. He said so, but would you agree to his comment? It's all about one man.
No, I will tell you this. No. You see, policies might seem to be addressing individual, but it's not an individual. I'll tell you this. Beyond today, if this policy comes to stay, beyond today, many people will not be learning from this call. Many people will not be learning, what do I do? Let me tell you, some people today are trapped. Why are they trapped? They have so much money in their kitty. Some kept money underwater. Okay? Some kept money overhead tanks. Some kept money in their rooms. Up to billions of naira. I heard recently, it is true, fine. If it's not true, the person who says so in the media is the one that is wrong. He said somebody had 22 billion. Because of this policy problem, what happened? Somebody quickly went and started giving her raw cash to pay salaries. You know what I'm saying now? Now, these are some of the benefits of policy of the nation. Like I said today, I said the policy would have been a good policy, but because of the kind of structure and the planning, we didn't preempt possibilities. Because the people have a way of pushing back to you, making your good policy go bad, so as to blackmail you to succumb. Now, all of them in this contest, they are rich men. None of them is not a billionaire.
Nigerian wealth.
At least the first three of them. Others may be parts. Some of them, others who were there, some of them were formerly the government functionary and all of that. But these three ones that are in the limelight, including the fourth one, who is the NPP man, they are all billionaires. None of them is not a rich man. Okay? Some of them have big time stock in some of these businesses that are running. Are you get what I'm saying now? So the issue is this, is that this policy is not about individual. It might seem, but it's not about individual. Because even the other guys who are now pretending we were happy about the policy, some of them are also in their heart bleeding. What are they doing? They are playing to our emotion. They're playing on our emotion, believing that Nigerians don't like, so let us hammer it so that people will now say we are in favor of the Nigerians. No, this is the issue. The issue is that our leaders should begin to avoid emotions and allow reason guide their judgment. Because whether we like it or not, today political space, the ideological mismatch has created a problem for us that we do not even know which of this line have us at heart. When they come, they give us story that we want to hear. Imagine a man, I said just outside when I was talking to them, that a man comes in and said, I build a new house. When you get to that new house, when you open the wall small, you see it's mud. It's not a brick house. No matter how beautiful paint you did it, it's still a mud house. It's not changing. So the point I'm making is this, is that whether we like it or not, the policy is designed to meet those who you think is made for, and meet people who you didn't even think is made for. Because those people are also asking questions. Where do we go from here? I tell you a question. When this policy happens, so why I said the policy, yes, makes some sense, but because of the planning structure, that was my core with the policy. Let me tell you, somebody woke up from his house and found out that the policy was there. He didn't know what to do with the money he had. He had billions in his house. He started sharing money to people. He called his friends. Oh, boy, then he told me that this is a man who will tell you, oh, boy, come on in my pocket. I don't have any money. When it came, he told his friend, oh, boy, you told me that they needed some money. I bet, give him 500,000. And you take 1 million naira. Just like that. Because he was now confused, where do I take this money to? Because if I don't take it to the bank, then it will go bad. So what do I do? Let me do what we call goodwill, with giving out the money to people. You get a picture now. So for me, this policy is not about individual, it's about our Nigerian economy. The last thing I want to take on this discussion is that if we understood very clearly and people thought through that money kept, not used, is depreciating every day. I tell you, some people had that money when Naira was 160 or 130 to a dollar. Am I correct?
Yeah.
But today it's about 7 and something Naira to a dollar in the black market. Tell me now, when you keep 1 billion, if you take that and analyze that one, you discover that 1 billion has crashed almost to the debt. But because of the lack of reasoning and the issue of emotions and native conceptions, that you have the money in your house makes you a big man. It's crazy. Otherwise, if I have that kind of money, what do? I invest in organizations. I invest in business that will create jobs. And today, the value of that currency I put there in that investment would have been high.
Appreciated.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, this policy is designed, this policy came to address beyond the political class to people who have been also agents of the political class. Because some of them, they are agent boys. There are boys in this country whose business is just to carry money to go and keep somebody money in overseas and they get 10%. So if you give him 1 billion to go and open an account in London or in America or in Dubai, he get 10%, 100 million naira in his hands.
All right.
Please excuse me, why I said it's all about one man. I'm trying to say the immediate effect, the reason that prompted this action is a result of the APC primaries that took place in Abuja when they saw what happened and decided like, this is what we are going to do to curb this. And that is how this policy came about. And in my trying to know that the CBN, they projected or brought in about 2.3 trillion. They injected into the society. And where is the money today? It's nowhere to be found. Like Erufai said, he said he knows of a government that went to the bank and withdrew 500 million naira. If Erufai can say that, it simply means that he himself must have had access to part of that money. So what I'm trying to say is that there is enough money to go around Nigeria for us, go around the country for us. But because of the forthcoming election, these hard politicians, they have been able to grab this currency. And now,
that brings us back to the vote buying issue. Would this prevent vote buying or to be so easy to buy votes? Because now you don't have the money, I don't have the money, but you said these politicians, they have them, but that means on that they just roll out the money.
But people don't care anymore.
A friend of mine said, look, a vote may just cost as low as 2,000 naira new currency because things are hard.
And I will tell you this.
Yes.
Initially, when vote buying started, people were scared. People were like, if I should collect the money now and don't vote for their candidate, my life might be at risk.
You just hold on now. We want to go for a break. When we return, we'll continue with this discussion. Don't go away. 6 days to the election. States of the nation.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a...
Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is TMI, countdown to the general election, state of the nation, 6 days to be precise to the election. And many Nigerians, according to reports, they are not really happy about what is going on. And I have Comrade Bashir Kadri with me in the studio, and Comrade Marcel Oko. They are sharing their points and their views and opinions about what is happening right now. It's all about the cash crunch, if it's going to really curb vote buying. Marcel's of the opinion that it started at an individual, while Bashir Kadri said no, it's about the policy implementation. That is where he's finding fault in all of this, but still it's a good policy. But implementation is where we are having it somehow wrong. 6 days to the election, you're making your point about vote buying being easier because a friend of mine said, look, Will, vote buying right now would be as cheap as drinking water because people are very, very hungry, don't have cash. If a politician peradventure just comes out with 2,000 naira new note, and electors will just be tempted to get up money at a particular point in time, thereby using the money to influence his or her choice of candidates. Take it on from there.
My question that I'm going to ask is this. How many voters will be willing to collect money and play the bidding of the politician? How many voters will do that? We are now exposed. We are more enlightened. We are no longer scared. Initially, in like previous election, people were scared. When you get the money from them, you just have to vote. I voted somewhere where I used to vote in Benin, where I normally vote in Benin. And someone was already planning to vote a particular political party. And somebody came, gave her money, and she met me and said, bros, not vessel. I'm not sure I will vote that party again. I said, why, man? He said they're giving her 5,000 naira. I said, okay. At the end, she voted for that political party. And after
that gave her money.
That gave her money, and I asked her a question. How do you feel? And she said she feels really bad. I saw her some weeks back, and we spoke. And do you know what she told me? She said even if they are sharing money, she's going to collect it and vote her conscience. He will make sure they lose their money and lose the election. Now, this policy hits most at the politicians. But they are trying to just relax and behave as if nothing is happening to them. Frankly speaking, they are the most hit with this policy. And that is why you see Erufai and the Nasarawa State governor alongside with Ganduje, they've gone to the Supreme
Even
Court.
Ogun State government
And
said if anyone do not collect the old currency, it's going to revoke that C of O's.
And I want to use this medium to beg Nigerians, and Edo State in particular, let us be patient. I promise you, and I know very well that on Friday morning, there will be a lot of circulation of this new currency around the country because it is election time. The reason Mr. President has not given a directive for more money to be injected into the Nigerian society is because they want to tame the vote buying. And this is the only way they can tame it.
Okay.
And if they are able to tame it, we will have, to a very large extent, a free and credible election.
Are they really taming the vote buying process right now?
Now, I will tell you this. The
Yes.
political class, they preempt you. That's what government should begin to think to. How do we preempt them, not they preempt us? Because many a time, you know, it's like a wrestling competition. The man who picks the leg first is the winner. You know what I'm saying now?
Yes.
So these politicians, they're not sleeping. They have what we call tacticians who plan for them, who they pay so good money to plan for them. And they package what they want to do. And once they hear a policy, pam, they set their machinery in motion to start preempting that policy. You know, there are people whose business is to undermine you. That's what they celebrate doing. They just sit down, start doing it. No policy you bring that they will ever say is good. Once you are the one that brought it, no matter how they want to undermine you by strategically undermining you and organizing to make it work. Now, I tell you this. The banks have been attacked, for instance, and the banks are destroyed. So in the next few weeks, the banks will be renovating their properties. Is it not true?
Yes.
POS that were destroyed. They're not just picked from the market square. They will buy them, before they will go and bring them in and install them. So who is going to suffer? We, because the window that we get money from as citizens of Nigeria is the bank. The POS are not friendly. Because when the POS know that the bank are closed down, they will now give you times 2 of what they charge, even times 100. Imagine recently you go to POS to collect 5,000 naira, they say pay 1,000 naira. You know what I'm saying now? And all of that. So for me, the first thing is that we should now start thinking from this policy now. Yeah. Nigeria will start thinking now. But policies, when they are made to make you think. They are made to stimulate your thoughts. Even though the policy designer may have said, I got a good policy, but you that's getting the policy, you would want to say, okay, let me think now. But the beauty of this policy is that many people are not thinking that, look, keeping money in my house is not going to be friendly because it might happen again one day, I'll lose the money. So let me start looking for what to do with the money and invest it. If this money in question were invested, we wouldn't be talking the way we're talking now. We would have been a production society. The irony is that people who tell me production, and people who do not believe in production because they make more money when they import than when they produce. But again, production in such a way that over time, it takes time, patiently. When you get to the peak, you start making your money. You don't just start today and start making money tomorrow. But some of them cannot wait. They don't have short-term program. I mean, a long-term program. All they want is now.
And we're talking now, because 6 days to the election.
Exactly.
How many persons will have the money to go out to the post to vote?
Now, let me tell you this.
Yes.
I'll anchor this.
Yes, please.
I'll anchor this. Now, the point is this, is that as we speak today, these same people we are talking about, we say they are politicians, they are doing this one. Some of our people, they are their agents, who they use to undermine the system. Now, they will now open it. Look at it, like I was saying just now, that somebody just carried 7 POS card, 7 card, ATM card in his hand, and started drawing money. And who is drawing money for? Somebody somewhere else who will pay him commission. So who says that he cannot open an account in Wilson's name or in your name, and then you will be the one to make the money start coming to, and the man will just sit down in his house, and the money will come in. Hey, he will call you, where are you now? Hey, have you got that money? Yes, okay, where are you now? But now you said you want to check the man from collecting money, and I channel, and the money is in your custody. You are the one now bringing the money to him. So what happens? So that's why some of them will still have access to money. It may not be as large as they would have, as we were in the past with bullion van.
Okay. Mr. Wilson, the main reason why monetization in Nigerian politics has been successful to an extent is not actually because of the money that comes in during election. The main reason why it has been successful is because of fear, the fear factor. If I collect this money and I don't vote for the right candidate, I might say for not. Now, Nigerians have been able to build a wall around that fence. Nigerians, they've been able to build a fence around that fear. And nobody cares anymore. Like my daddy said, he's talked about politicians preempting us. Nigerians are also preempting politicians. We know their strategy. And they don't have a new ball game. The same old ball game is what they are bringing to us. And now we have the tactics to tackle that. And the tactics is that we are no longer afraid. On the day of election, if you are sharing money, we are going to collect it and vote our conscience. And at the end, it will be a double lose for you. It will be a double loss. You will lose your money. It is even Nigeria's money. You will lose your money and you will lose the election. And it will now bring us back to the status quo of making Nigeria a great country again. It's not bringing money into Nigerian politics to buy. It's not new to us anymore. We are ready. And the only way we can fight these guys, we will collect the money and vote for our candidates. We are no longer scared. You go to the streets of Benin, and then even the campaign places, do you think those guys out there, when you are campaigning, a particular party is campaigning, and you start hearing another, some group of people shouting somebody's name, this, that, this. These people are not hired crack. They are telling you that this is what we will do. On the day of election, bring the money, no problem. We hold it and vote for our conscience. You preempt us, we will be preempting you people. We know the strategy, we know the logistics, we know where you are coming from. All the nook and crannies, all the angles you want to come from, on that day we are ready. And at the end, democracy must strive.
Democracy must strive at the end. All right, now, but people like saying that the outcome of the election may be affected because of cash crunch. How true is this opinion?
Let me tell you, you see, I like to also share the feelings of the non-elites. We here, we are elitist. Whether we agree or not, we are elitist. Because
I'm among the masses.
no. When I say elitist now,
yes.
masses also have elites.
Of course.
Are you what I'm saying? Masses also have elites. That's why you can see masses can speak the English that the politicians also speaking. Can also hear them, can understand them, can analyze them. If you are not an elite, you cannot analyze what they are doing. It will be difficult. You'll be looking at it from the native perspective. But because you have the capacity, by the grace of God, you can also rationalize. That's why you're able to do a rationalization. So for me, to rationalize and reason is a matter of, it's an elitist concept. You get the picture now. You may not necessarily be a university graduate, but once you have the capacity to analyze, you're also an elite. Okay. Now, that's the point. So the point I'm making is this, is that as of today, the current trends of events have shown that our average Nigerian person from the suburb is money-driven. That's why you discover that Yahoo is thriving everywhere. Wilson, Yahoo is thriving everywhere. Whether we agree or not, every young man want to hit the ground running a year after he was born, if it is possible. He wants to get a GLK. He wants to get a PLK and drive a 15 million car. Okay? And his feeling about it is no apology. To him, he has hammer, And how he makes the money is not even the subject matter. So that's why I'm saying we should try and be careful not to over-assume that the people we are talking about will not see money and drive their head. Because the issue is this, what has happened over the years is that the Nigerian society is a monarchical historical background where everybody wants to be a prince. You know what I'm saying now? Yeah. And so whenever he finds himself in a position, he wants to oppress others. I tell you, just look at, even among the student union organization, the president becomes a demigod. You know what I'm saying now? And he gets security. He gets, what they call it, PAs, as many as 50 or 20 or 30. Okay? And they are going with him. What do you do with PA at that number? You get cars. You want to buy a car. You drive a car. When you come out, they just open door for you and you just walk like a... This is razzmatazz. So the issue is this, is that we need to begin to work on our psyche too. Because the average man in the street you're talking about now, when you go and meet him, this morning he will say something. By afternoon he says something else. He say, consign me. I beg. That person will give money, I go chop. He will do it. And then he will also want to fight you on the street. So it is a class of the elites among the people that are driving the process. I'm hoping that the average person in the village and who are the real voters will have the mindset and change their perception.
But without this money in circulation, won't it affect them in the interior,
are you there?
The rural areas?
Are you there? Internationally, we have discovered that hunger is the best weapon to fight a war.
Hunger.
Hunger.
And the people are hungry right now. If they are hungry, They think for as low as 1,000 they'll sell their votes.
Now, the truth...
Don't forget the word hunger.
Yeah, the word hunger.
And people are hungry right now in the streets.
Yeah. Now, if you take a look at what is happening, you know very well that you have to talk about consciousness. Why is there hunger? It's the same politicians, the same leaders that has brought this upon the people. And now there's this awareness, there's this consciousness. People want to make things right for the first time. Election is just a day. And if a winner emerges, it will take another 4 years or probably 8 years, as the case may be, before things might become better. But when you sell your vote for a day, you can't even get a pot of soup with that money. So people will take this into consideration before they sell, before they
But right, they don't even have the pot of soup right now.
In some persons,
it's like since the outcome of this.
I don't have cash with me, but
Okay.
I ate this morning. I ate before coming here. So many of us don't have cash with us. We maybe just transport fare, but we have food in our house. You can go to anywhere and some eateries that have POS and do transfer. You can use your POS, your ATM cards. It's not that there's no food. There's food in the land, but what we are talking about is cash to get these things. And it's not all foods you buy with cash. You can do transfer. So
It's not about transfer. What about the story of money transaction hanging?
No,
You've been debited, but you just can't see anything.
Mr. Wilson, all these things are part of the system. That's why I talked about consciousness. People are aware. Their awareness is high. People want to make the right decision this time, irrespective of what is happening. And I tell you, if after the election and still yet, there's no circulation of this new currency, I tell you, the protest will take a new dimension. And by then, you will see large number of turnouts coming out to protest. So if you take a look at the numbers of people coming out to protest, you can easily count them compared to the NSAS protest and maybe the fuel subsidy protest in 2011, 2012. That's to tell you that a higher number of Nigerians are okay with this policy. All they are waiting for is for Saturday's election.
Okay.
And after the election, let us see if we have money to spend. And
Well,
if there's
thank
no
you.
money, they might actually come out.
Thank you so much. Your advice to Nigerians, briefly, because our
Yes,
time is up.
yes. My advice to Nigerians is that this policy should be a learning process. Life is a school. We must begin to learn.
Yes.
What is dangerous in policy is that when people learn nothing from the policy when they come. What has happened now is that we must learn from what this policy has brought to fore so that all of us can think. The second I want to tell Nigeria is that remember that Nigeria is our country. If Nigeria stands in good stead, we are all better. If it stands in challenge, we are all in trouble. Because you're leaving this country to anywhere and say you want to be a citizen of that country. You're just by adoption. You are not a citizen of that country. You are by birth a Nigerian. So if Nigeria is having problem, the problem and the image crisis will also affect you as a Nigerian.
Thank you.
God bless Nigeria, and I know that Nigeria will come better by the grace of God.
Thank you so much, comrade. Appreciate a wonderful analysis. Well, this is where we draw curtains to this edition of This Morning on ITV. You've heard them. There's hunger in the land. With this policy going to check vote buying, or vote will be cheaper because everybody's looking for money. They are hungry. Maybe it ought to be 5,000 naira before, but that'd be like just 2K new money. Vote for me. Is it going to influence their decision? You've heard them. You just watch out and see if the prediction really come true. Say a dimmy on a Friday or Saturday morning. Can you see these new Naira notes everywhere? If it's so, that means Nigerians. Anyway, let me just leave it at that. Gentlemen, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Remember, next week Saturday is election. Get everything set to go cast your votes. Bye for now.